10 days from today, I will have been retired for 10 years. Baby, 10 years. I cannot believe it. And what makes it even crazier is this. I retired at 51 years old. 51. I had worked since I was 16 for about 35 years of my life. I had a rhythm. Get up, get dressed, go to work, sit in that cubicle for 8+ hours, come home, do it all over again. So I decided to leave full time work at 51. That was not a casual decision. Hmm, I think I'll retire. No, it was one of the scariest decisions made. And now, 10 years later, it was also one of the best decisions I ever made. But I didn't retire because I hated my job. I didn't retire because somebody made me mad. I definitely was not sitting there with unlimited money saying, well, tea's free. The real reason I started questioning whether I wanted to keep working was much deeper. The year before I retired, my husband died from pancreatic cancer, and losing him changed the way I looked at time. I didn't think about mortality before he got sick. I think none of us do, especially if you are under 60, probably. You don't think about mortality. So today, as I approach my 10-year retirement anniversary, I want to tell you why I retired so young, why I almost didn't retire, what I had to think through financially, what I thought retirement would look like, and what it actually looks like. What I've learned about money, health, family, identity, and joy. And the big question, knowing everything I know now, would I do it again? And baby, this story started long before I ever walked into HR. So sit down, come on in, and let's chat. Rick and I had talked about retirement for years. And let me back up. I am T. So that you, for those of you who don't know me, I'm T. So we had planned, we had to work, save, retire, go see the world after retirement. That was the plan. He retired in 2013, and we had one amazing year. Now I was still working. So Rick would take me to work. He was let me say, he was Mr. Mom. And guess who the kid was? Me. Because apparently he thought I was the kid. So he would fix my lunch, take me to work, come back and pick me up, and make sure I was ready for work like you do kids for school. So we would take local outing trips. We would talk about where we wanted to go. We would talk about what we wanted to see, what the next few years were going to look like. And so many people, we had all these sentences, just like so many people do, that started with, when we retire, when I retire, we'll travel. When we both have the time, we'll go there. Later, later, later. We thought we had time, baby. Then life changed. Hmm. Life has a way of doing that, you know? It would kick you when you least expect it. So, let me show you. Oh, let me turn this, maybe turn this light out. So, this is a picture. Oh, here we go. This is a picture of Rick's pancreas. This picture changed my life in 2013, April 23rd, 2015, to be exact. My life changed totally. So, um, the doctor drew the tumor of Rick's pancreas, and baby, that little sketch changed everything. Before that, we were still about life in terms of plans. And after that, life started being measured in appointments, treatments, scans, good days, bad days, hope, and time. I spent about 11 months helping him live. And then I spent about 1 month helping him transition. Those were very trying times. Hoping, living, and then the job changed. I wasn't helping him fight anymore. I was helping the man I loved leave this world as peacefully as I could help him do it. And in 2015, Rick became my guardian angel. So, yeah, life changes that you never even anticipate. After he died, I kept thinking about all those things we had planned to do later. And something became very clear to me. You can plan retirement, you can save for retirement, you can have all your numbers, written down, lined up, worked out, baby. You can have a whole vision of what the next 20 years are going to look like. But life does not sign up for your plan. And I apologize for this light. This window is not perfect, and I apologize for that once I turned that lamp off. But anyway, we're going on. Retirement doesn't sound nearly as exciting if you finally get there and your health is failing, your energy is gone, or the person you made those plans with isn't there anymore. That did something to me. I started looking at my own life differently. I was 51, and that is very young to think about retirement. I was still active, still able to travel, still able to enjoy things. And I started asking myself, T, what exactly are you waiting for? Not, can I work another year or another 10 years? Of course I could. The real question became, how many healthy years do I want to keep giving to that cubicle before I start using my time differently? That was the question. So let me ask y'all something. Has anything ever happened in your life that made you suddenly say, wait a minute, what am I waiting for? Maybe grief, maybe illness, divorce, a birthday, children leaving home, anything that made you rethink the plan. Put it in the comments. Let's chat about it. Because sometimes life interruptions, they interrupt the plan. And then you have to decide whether you're going to keep following the old plan or are you going to figure out another plan? Yeah, let's talk about it. Because your question or your answer may help the next woman or man coming behind you or making these decisions. Now, let me explain why retiring at 51 was so scary. I wasn't retiring at 65. I wasn't even close to my own Social Security retirement eligibility age. I was 51, and retirement Social Security starts at 65 or 67. They keep changing the date, baby. I don't even know. But anyway, at that time, it was 65. My own Social Security couldn't even start until 62 as a reduction amount. It wouldn't be the full amount, it would be a reduced amount. So that was another 11 years from 51. And because I was a widow survivor, Social Security potentially could start at 60. But baby, that was still 9 years away. So I had to just continue, I had to think about it and write it down because 9 years, 11 years, 15 years, whatever the number said, baby, I wasn't nowhere near it. Before any possible income stream could come from any of them budgets or buckets. That is not um I'll hold off until next summer question. Baby, it required deep thinking. That is, girl, you make this work for years. Not just 1 year, baby. It's got to work for years. So I had to look at everything. And when I tell you I did the math, baby, T did the math. I had budgets. I had statements from Social Security. I had statements from my HR department, retirement department. Baby, I had paperwork from the military pension, TSP. Baby, I had all kinds of budgets and statements. You hear me? Projections, estimates, different scenarios that might happen. Papers everywhere. I had a whole lot of financial commitment. I had a whole command center going on, baby. I was trying to answer what do I know is coming in? What's going out? What happens before I turn 61? What happens at 62? What if something breaks? What if my health changes? How much do I have for emergencies? You see these questions. How long does money need to last me? And in my estimate, I'm thinking I have a good 20 more years because my mama was in her mama lived to be 90 something. So I'm like, okay, I got genes, maybe I'll be at least 80. So all of my budgets consisted of at least 82. I know God said we get 120, but I was at least budgeted for 82. So how long does this money have to last, baby? Can I travel? Because, baby, that was a non negotiable. If I could not travel, I might as well get up and keep going to that cubicle for 8 hours because it just wasn't going to work. Can I enjoy my life? Because, T likes to shop, he likes to eat out. So we had to think about all of that. And because I was a military widow, baby, it was a whole nother layer up in there. My military coverage and my 100% to get on base for commissary, all of that mattered to me. And the commissary and the exchange, they are based on your ID card. And so that ID card is survival benefits. And so then there's this little issue over here. I'm gonna tell you about that in a minute. What if T found herself a sweet thing? Because in my situation, I was 51, a young, vibrant woman. So getting married too young could affect those survival benefits because they put this little clause in there. You can't get married before 55, baby, or you'll lose all your benefits. I'm thinking I was a military spouse for Rick was in the military literally 30 years. So I was a military spouse for 30 years. That means I worked too, baby, because when he was gone, who kept them kids? I was Mrs. Mom then. I kept the home front, baby. So it's not just the soldier, sailor, airman, whatever that's in the military. It's a family thing, baby. So I had to think about that because I put some time in, baby. So that was in the budget. But my head was on a swivel. You hear me? On a swivel. I'm thinking, can I retire? Can I keep my medical benefits? Because the medical benefits from military is good. Can this budget work? Can I handle emergencies? Can I travel? What if something changes? I ain't got nobody that can help me, baby. I got a rooter toot for myself. So I can't be saying, I can't call Rick no more. And when I don't have no money in my wallet, I can't do that no more. So I had to figure out how to rooter toot for myself. And if somebody fine shows up, baby, he better be a Boaz because now I have to ask, sir, exactly how fine are you? Because, baby, we're talking benefits, medical coverage, pension, money, honey. You better be fine, fine, baby. No, I'm just kidding, y'all. Mostly. I tickled myself, sorry. Mostly, and here's where I can provide. I wasn't just sitting around saying all of this. Life is short. I'm quitting. Baby, I have receipts. So let me show you. Let's see if we can get this in view here. Whoops. Where's the camera? This is fun, y'all. So, okay, the yellow is the cruise budget. Baby, it was in the budget. It was a non-negotiable. It's right there. I was not playing around, baby. It was in the budget. Yes, ma'am. Because I know T. T like to shop, T like to eat out, and T loves to travel. Those were non-negotiables. Not for the sense that I was going to spend foolishly. No. But I was not going to create a fake retirement where I can retire and suddenly I can't go out or do nothing that I like. What kind of retirement is that? So my question wasn't just, can I retire? My question was, can I afford to retire and still live joyfully? Because retirement meant I had to sit in the house scared to spend $20, never travel, never eat out, never buy myself anything, baby. I was going to keep right on setting that alarm clock, taking myself right on back to that cubicle. I was willing to budget. I was willing to plan. I was willing to be intentional, an intentional spender. I was willing to travel on layaway, baby. They got layaway. They got layaway for airplane flights. They got layaway for cruises. They got layaway for resorts. Baby, whatever you want to do, they got a layaway plan. You ain't got to pay that $1,300 out the pocket right away. What I do, whatever the cost of the trip or whatever I want to do, I break it down to at least 9 months because I want to give myself 3 months of recovery to get that spending change. So it stay in the budget. So if my budget is $200 or whatever, if it's $1,300, I'm going to divide it by 9 months and make that payment to have that paid off in 9 months, and then give myself 3 months to do $200 again. So we got $600, baby. So we can have a real vacay. But I was not willing to retire from work and then retire from life. Mm-mm. So every budget had to answer a bigger question. Is there room in here for tea to still be tea? Can I handle an emergency? Can I save? And can I go somewhere? Can I have dinner out? Can I shop? Not all the time, just sometimes. Can I still enjoy the healthy years from retiring and protect myself? Because otherwise, what exactly was I leaving that cubicle for? I don't know. So, anyway, and baby, I calculated all of that. So, let me show you my. So, y'all probably don't believe in my. Okay, so I had a 20-year plan. Oh, y'all can't see. Oh, there we go. 20-year plan, a 30-year plan, and a 25, well, 20, 25, and 30-year plan. So this money had to last me. And I don't know why. It's there we go. That's a little bit. There we go. 20, 25, 30. There we go. That's what this money had to do for me. So yeah. So that was my 20, 25, 30-year plan. I calculated $1,100 a month for 20 years, then 25 years, and then 30 years. Y'all saw the receipts. Then I tried $1,200 and even $1,300. Baby, I was making sure this money understood the assignment. You have a job. This money had a job. I wanted to know, if I leave work at 51, how long can this money carry me? I needed to know that. 20 years, 25, 30. What if I live longer? What if my expenses change? What if something happens? Like, a roof, a hot water tank. What else could happen? Oh, I had a water main break in my yard that they had to dig through my yard. Was it cheap? No, baby. And y'all already know a roof is not cheap. A car. You're gonna need a car at some point. So, things happen. I had to think about all of that and ran it every which way I can. And eventually I realized something. The numbers were useful. The numbers were necessary, because you just don't do it willy-nilly, baby. But after a while, I wasn't calculating because I needed another answer. I was calculating because I was trying to make myself feel safe. And numbers can tell you whether the plan is possible. They cannot promise you. They can't promise you health, time, peace, or whatever your life is going to look like 10, 20, 15 years from now. That was one of the biggest lessons I learned. Planning gives you information, but planning cannot eliminate uncertainty. At some point, the numbers either support your decision or the life you want, or they don't. And mine did. Gratefully, mine did. So eventually, I still had to make the decision. So I still had to make that final one decision to walk my little happy self back up to HR. So I made the decision. I was retiring. My original retirement date was going to be February 2016. And because February is my birthday month, y'all. My birthday month. I love a birthday. I love a birthday. So, baby, I was about to give myself a retirement birthday of the century, baby. New year of life, new chapter. T was coming out. You know, I'm coming out. Woo! So I thought. Then my supervisor talked to me. And looking back, I understand her concern. Rick had recently died. I had a very traumatic 12 months. I was grieving. I was 51, and I was making a huge permanent decision. Her concern was basically, is this T making this decision, or is grief making the decision? And that was a fair question. And I'm so grateful for her because she loved me enough to even do that. Because she could have just took my papers and said, okay, bye. See you later. So I pulled my retirement papers after talking to her, and I kept working for about 3 months. And looking back, I'm so glad I did work those extra 3 months because it gave me time to test the decision. Was I reacting? Was I running away from grief? Was I tired? Was I making the decision because life felt overwhelming? Because life be life, and baby. Or did I genuinely want to retire? So I kept working for 3 months. I kept thinking, and apparently I did some more math. Because eventually I had not calculated enough already. I needed to do some more numbers. And baby, the answer kept coming back to the same answer. T was ready. So here I went back to HR. Going back to HR with my papers. Hey y'all, I'm back. Put those papers right back in. And this time I knew I wasn't running away from work. I wasn't running away from grief. I was choosing my life. Retirement date, August 30th, 2016. Well, August 31st. August has 31 days. August 31st, 2016. And here I am, 10 years plus 10 days plus or minus from August 31st. 10 years. That is so freaking hard to believe when I think about it. I've been retired for 10 years. And once I finally retired, there was another decision I had to make. Was I going to keep surviving, or was I going to live? Because grief had changed me. I had spent so much time helping Rick live, then helping him die, that somewhere in there, I had to figure out what living was going to look like for me. And baby, I decided I was going to keep living. I got serious about my health. I got serious about my weight. I started taking better care of T. So I forgot to show y'all my retirement, but This is tea before and after. I kind of let myself go, gained about 70 pounds. The scale got to 190, and I'm 5'2". I'm 5'1" now. They say I've lost an inch. So 5'2" at that point. And 190 at 5'2" is not good. So I became very conscious of my health. And this became my butterfly moment. But before I get into that, I want to show you guys my retirement before we get into the butterfly. So this is my retirement picture. See my cake, y'all. Can y'all see my cake has a ship on it? But I got one better than that. Oh, I thought I had the other one with the retirement cake. I might find it. Or maybe I didn't print that, but they did me one with a ship. It was absolutely gorgeous. So this is my butterfly moment. So when Rick died, I got my first tattoo at 51, and it's a butterfly. And this butterfly became symbolic for me. I felt like I had been in a cocoon. Grief had wrapped around my life. And eventually I made the decision. T, you are coming out of this cocoon. Not because I stopped loving Rick and not because grief disappeared, but because I was still here. And if I was still here, there was still some living to do, baby. So I moved into what I call my butterfly stage. Healthier, stronger, more intentional, more willing to travel, more willing to try things, more willing to say, this may not be the life I planned, but it is still my life. Excuse me. It's still my life. Looking back now, I realize retirement didn't create the butterfly, but it gave me the time and space to figure out who she was. Who is T? We spent 20 years raising kids, being a wife, being a caregiver sometimes, that we forget who we are. And so there, I think in your 50s and 60s, um, there's a reckoning or a figuring out who you are as just a one single person versus a person with many hats. So the retirement celebration, I already showed you guys the new chapter. And then the first thing I did after retiring, I retired on the 31st. And not long after retiring, baby, T was in Montego Bay on the water in the sand. Yes, yes. Now let me be clear. I am not saying that I quit my job. I'm not saying you quit your job and go book a trip to Jamaica. No. What I'm saying is I had spent years thinking about what life after work could look like. And once I finally made that decision, I started living the life I had planned for. Not Rick's and my original plan. No, because sadly, that wasn't the life that I got at the end. But I still had a life. So I decided I was going to live it. I was going to live this life joyfully and to the fullest possibility that I could. So now, let me tell you something nobody really warned me about. Mm-mm. I had worked since I was 16. My first job was a cashier at the store across the street from my house. So, for roughly 35 years, my brain understood work equals money. You get up, you go somewhere, you punch in, you do something, then somebody deposits money into your account. That made sense because that's how I ever knew for 30 some years. Then retirement comes along and says, T, you can sit in your recliner, drink coffee, garden, travel, be in the middle of the ocean, and your retirement check is still going to show up. Babe, what? I understood it mathematically. I knew that was supposed to happen. Emotionally, that took some getting used to. I would calculate, recalculate, check, think, run another scenario. And eventually, I realized a retirement plan is supposed to help me live. It is not supposed to make me afraid to live. Now, does that not mean throw the budget away? No, no, ma'am. T likes lights, water. T enjoys her bills being paid. Nobody calling me and knocking on the door. But I had to learn the difference between being frugal and being intentional. Baby, there's a difference. They are not always the same thing. Mm-mm, there's a difference. So, so what does retirement look like now? Baby, I still usually get up at 7:30 in the morning. Sometimes 5 o'clock. It just depends. Nobody makes me. Apparently, my body clock keeps the job, kept the job after I retired. And I've been this almost 10 years and it still gets me up. So I get up, I have coffee. Sometimes I sit on the porch, sometimes in my recliner. I enjoy my mornings. It's no rushing. Then I take my shower, I get dressed, and then I figure out what my day is going to be. That sounds small. It is not small. For decades, work got first dibs on my time. Everything else had to fit around work. Doctor appointments, work around it. A trip, vacation days, a family event. I had to check the calendar, had to check the job calendar. Want to stay somewhere an extra week? Baby, uh-uh. Gotta be back at work on Monday like you asked all for. Now I get up and ask, what does a day need? What do I want to do? Who needs me? Where do I want to go? Sometimes I'm working on YouTube. Sometimes I'm gardening. Sometimes I'm running errands. Sometimes I'm doing regular old house stuff. Retirement does not remove laundry, baby. We still got to do that laundry. Unfortunately, mop them floors and clean the bathroom. But my time belongs to me differently now. And that is one of the greatest luxuries retirement gave me. Oh my God. Being ownership of my time. That's amazing. Now, y'all know, I already told y'all, T loves to travel. And sometimes people see somebody traveling and think, oh, she must have a lot of money. No. And I already kind of told y'all about this, but I have something called plan ahead money. I travel on layaway. If the trip is months away, why am I making 1 month's budget responsible for the entire trip? I book early, pay on it, watch for details, make choices, prioritize, and by the time the trip comes, T is ready to go, baby. And I'm gonna tell you something else I started doing. I started buying my flights with points. It's better to buy the points and purchase a flight because if something happens, they give you your points back if you cancel that flight. If you buy one of them flights that's non-refundable, you can't go. Baby, that I don't think you can get a flight for under $300. Yeah, I don't know one, but that three, four, five, or $1,000 be international, it's just gone. So I started buying points and purchased my flights through points. Look into that, y'all. That's a little tease tidbit. I learned that you don't have to have unlimited money to have experiences. And I tell people that all the time when they ask about my travels. I said, baby, I travel on layaway. You just need planning, patience, priorities, and enough sense to book the trip early. You can afford it. Travel matters to me. So instead of pretending it doesn't, I built it into my plan. That is intentional spending. Yeah. I built it in the plan, babe. It was in the budget, non-negotiable in the budget. So now let's talk to something else I found out in my retirement. So I have found out little luxuries in retirement. I order my groceries in my PJs, baby. I was just talking to my girlfriend about that this morning. Baby, look at this. Oh, wrong one. Hold up, hold up, hold up. Here we go. Look at this. I ordered in my pajamas. Walmart put it on my porch, and then I brought it in and put it on the counter. So, look, Walmart, thank you. Yeah, they don't have the opportunity to tempt T because T has eyes, and so let me tell y'all what happens when I go in Walmart. Y'all might not do this, but when I'm unsupervised in Walmart, I go in there for groceries, and then suddenly, ooh wee, look at this dress, or this T-shirt is on sale. Oh, I need some candles or something else. And Walmart know that. I go in there sometimes to get what I went in there to get and come out. I can't come out on $100 when I go to Walmart. I have tried. I can't do it. So somebody may say, T, grocery delivery costs money. Yeah, it does. And sometimes convenience saves me money. It can save me time, gas to go, energy, because I gotta walk around the store. Because you know how Walmart is. You want somebody in the grocery store section is over here. Then you gotta walk all the way across the store to get some deodorant. And while you're going over there to the deodorant, you gotta walk by them clothes. So they know what they're doing. Yeah. So no impulse purchases. So retirement taught me another lesson. Make every expense prove its value. Not never spend. No, that's different. Sometimes spending a little money can protect something else. That's valuable. Your time, your energy, your budget, your sanity, baby. And that part about not having to walk the store, take it to the car, then get it out of the car, bring it in the house, that takes me out. Because most of the time, Walmart parking lot, y'all know how it is. You got to park all the way down to the bottom of the parking lot. Then you got to walk to the store. Then you got to walk through that big store, baby. Mm-mm. Get your Walmart online shopping thing. Have them bring it to your house. Let me know if you like it. Put it in the comments. You can go back later, put it in the comments. Let me know if you like it. Say thanks, T. But when I look back over these 10 years, baby, the biggest retirement bought me was not travel. It wasn't shopping. It wasn't eating out. It wasn't grocery delivery. It was availability. I can be Oma for 2 weeks. That's what my grandkids call me. I'm Oma. I wanted to be different. I didn't want to be Gigi, Mimi, Grandma, Grandma, Oma. Oma is German. So grandma in German is Oma. So I was Oma, Rick was Opa. Oma and Opa. He spoke German. So that's how we came up with that name. I love Oma. So I can go be Oma for 2 weeks, sometimes longer than that. I've been for 2 and 3 months when my kids were international and they had infants and didn't want to put them in daycare. I'll go stay with them. And that was the reason, one of the reasons I retired. And I don't have to spend my whole time visiting thinking I have to leave on Sunday because I got to go to work Monday. I can stay. If they ask me, Mama, can you stay another week? If I don't have, something in my calendar that I can move around, I can stay. And I can be there, not just for the big events, but for the regular life that my grandkids have, like breakfast, games, car rides, sitting around, just doing regular things, running errands, whatever the day looks like, I can be present. So after losing Rick, I understood the value of ordinary time. It's different once you lose somebody. That ordinary time, he only got to spend time with one grandchild. And that grandchild was 18 months old when he died. But I'm grateful he got to spend time with him. So, because some of the things I miss most aren't huge, they're not huge events, they're ordinary things. The things I miss from Rick, him fixing my lunch, taking me to work, picking me up, calling me, just being there. Ordinary time becomes precious once you realize it's not unlimited. Retirement gave me more ordinary time with the people I love. And baby, that is worth a lot more. It's gold. It's gold. It's priceless. You can't buy it. Mm-mm. Now, this brings me to another thing retirement gave me, finding my voice again. Because after everything I had been through, caregiving, grief, widowhood, retirement, health changes, I wasn't only figuring out how to live without a job or a husband, I was figuring out who T is now. And somewhere in that process, I started speaking again. I started showing up. I started encouraging. I started sharing. I started building. I started using my voice. So, one of the ways I did that, these are old pictures from that season of Be Finding My Voice, Facebook Live and Periscope. That was part of me coming back to life in a different way, not the old me. So Not the woman before loss, but the woman I was becoming after it. I started realizing I still had something to say. I still had presence. I still had purpose. I still had something in me that could encourage somebody else. So when I say retirement gave me time, it didn't only give me time to travel or sit on the porch, it gave me time to rediscover my own voice. Looking back now, retirement didn't make me disappear, it gave me room to reappear. Baby, mm, that's priceless too. So, when you have worked most of your life, work becomes part of your identity. Say somebody asks you, "What do you do?" And you answer, "With the job. I'm a Medicaid eligibility specialist at social services." Then suddenly, when they ask you, you don't have an answer anymore. So, who are you? And almost 10 years later, I can tell you retirement did not end my productivity, baby. It changed who got to define it. I travel, I garden, I spend time with family, I learn technology, I create, I started YouTube. I make mistakes, I learn new things, I try again, and I'm still becoming. And that surprised me. Oh my gosh, it truly surprised me. I thought retirement meant you're finished. You put on your moo you don't even do your hair, your makeup, and you just look like who shot John and sit in the recliner or the rocking chair. Now I think retirement can mean what else can I become? What else can I do? And baby, apparently there was a whole lot of tea left after that cubicle. Matter of fact, I looked 5 years younger after I retired. You don't realize how stressed and exhausted you are until you retire. And as I sit here almost 10 years later, looking back at that 51-year-old woman trying to make that decision, I realized something that one decision changed my life so many ways. And I couldn't see all of that when I was standing there in 2016. I couldn't see the trips. I couldn't see myself becoming Oma with the freedom to stay for weeks at a time. I couldn't see myself getting serious about my health. I couldn't see the butterfly stage. I couldn't see myself finding my voice again. I couldn't see T's tidbits. I couldn't see myself almost 10 years later sitting right here talking to y'all. I couldn't see all of that. I couldn't see any of that. All I could do was make the best decision I could with the information I had, the numbers, the faith, the fear, and the life I had in front of me at that moment. And now I understand that quote. You live life looking forward, but you understand life looking back. Baby, that makes sense to me now. You live life looking forward. You make sense of it looking back. Because when you're living it looking forward, sometimes You don't know what in the world you're doing. You don't. You're just taking the next step, making the next decision, adjusting when life changes the plan, baby. Trying to trust yourself and continue to move. But when you get far enough down the road, baby, you can turn around and look back. And suddenly you can see, ooh, wee, that changed me. That led me here. That decision opened this door. That hard season taught me this. That thing I thought was the ending was actually leading me into another beginning. And when I look back at these almost 10 years, I can finally see the thread. Rick and I had one plan. Life changed it. I had to make another plan. And that plan didn't unfold exactly the way I imagined it either. But somewhere along the way, I came out of that cocoon, baby. I started taking care of T. I found my voice. I traveled. I became more available for my family. I learned how to manage my money differently. And if you know T, woo, that's a big hurdle right there. I tried new things. I learned new things. And I kept becoming. So maybe that's what these 10 years have taught me. More than anything, you don't always have to see where a decision is going to lead you before you take the next right step. Sometimes you live it forward, and only later do you understand looking back. And baby, looking back from here, right here, I'm so glad 51-year-old T walked back into HR. So glad. I'm so glad I walked back into HR. So now, if you're sitting there thinking about retirement, I'm not telling you, girl, quit your job. No, ma'am. No, ma'am. My decision was my decision. Your numbers may be different. Your health care may be different. Your pension may be different. Your responsibilities may be different. Your debt may be different. Your family situation may be different. Do the math, know your benefits, understand your health care, know your expenses, your non negotiables, baby. Think about emergencies, know what happens if circumstances change. And this one is important. Build your retirement budget for the person you actually are, not some imaginary retirement version of yourself who suddenly doesn't like anything. If you know you like things, put it in the budget. I if I couldn't travel, I wouldn't be here. I put it in the budget. I like eating out. Account for that. If you like shopping, give yourself a realistic amount. If convenience matters to you, Put it in the budget, baby. Because the question isn't only, can I survive retirement? Ask, can I build a retirement I actually want to live? That doesn't mean reckless spending. It means an honest budget. Because if you create a retirement plan you already know you're going to hate, that is not good. That is not a good plan. So here we are, almost 10 years later. If I could go back to 2016, the 51-year-old T sitting in that cubicle, still grieving, looking at budgets, Social Security statements, retirement statements, ooh, paperwork, TSP information, military survivor benefits, medical coverage. That's important the older you get. 20-year calculations, 25-year calculations, 30-year calculations. Shopping, travel, eating out, emergencies, family, and potentially a sweet thing. I would ask her, girl, are you sure? Knowing everything I know now, would I still walk into HR and put those retirement papers in? Baby, you probably already know the answer. Yes, absolutely yes. Absolutely would. Not because every day of the last 10 years has been easy, because it hasn't. Not because retirement solved every problem. It didn't. Not because I have never worried about money. Girl, please. I would do it again because those 10 years gave me something I could never buy back later. Time. 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 Time to heal, time to travel, time to be Oma, time to sit on my porch, time to figure out who T is. Baby, I love her. Time to get healthier, time to come out of my cocoon, time to find my voice, baby. Time to learn, time to create, time to make mistakes, time to try again. Time to become this woman. And this is the part that really gets me. Rick and I thought retirement was going to be something we did together. That wasn't the life I got. But I still had to let life. And I decided I was going to live it joyfully. That is why I retired. And almost 10 years later, baby, no regrets. No regrets. And baby, you are not, if you are thinking about retirement, maybe your next chapter is something completely different. And that's your story. But I want you to think about this. What are you assuming you'll always have time to do later? What's on your later plan? You don't have to panic. You don't have to make a reckless decision. I have what I call a life list. I don't do bucket lists because we ain't cooking no buckets over here, baby. We living life joyfully. What's on your life list that you said you'll do later? Look back over that list, whether it's mentally or written down on paper. What have you said you'll do later? You don't have to blow up your life tomorrow, but maybe you do need to stop automatically assuming there will always be a better time because money can be planned, trips can be planned, retirement can be planned, but time, health, baby, time does not wait for us to finish planning, baby. Time don't wait on nobody. 10 years goes by like a blink of the eye. Time doesn't wait. So if you're retired, tell me, what has retirement taught you that you never expected? If you're thinking about retirement, what scares you most? If retirement is still years away, what kind of life are you hoping all this work is eventually building for you in retirement? Let's talk about it because somebody in this room learned something from another woman, and another woman needs to hear that. This is T, and I'm aging out loud.